Hey guys, Andy Yen, spoken label back in the house on a Sunday afternoon. I'm really tired today because we were out yesterday all day on my father's 90th birthday. So it's like, and considering he's 90, the amount of energy my dad's got, happy birthday, Dad. I'm just recovering from it. But fathers, so right, we're off to one of my favourite parts of the world today, where I actually grew up in, actually, besides obviously it's the wonderful Stretford, we're in Cholton. I'm going to be chatting with a young lady. I met over at Speakeasy about 6 months ago, and she's read for us several times since. And I've been looking forward to this since we agreed this one a couple of weeks ago with the wonderful Rachel Hammond. Now, Rachel is just. I'm going to. This is great. This guy. I can embarrass Rachel before we start here. She's just sent over to me a bio, and there's lots of stuff in it I didn't even know about. So it adds to the fun when you don't really know somebody. So now, obviously, Rachel, we're here to talk about you today. Now, I want to delve back in time, like Doctor Who and his TARDIS. I don't even know if you like Doctor Who, so
I do.
so now I know you were born in Stockport originally, and then you moved to Blackpool, didn't you? So, and you've been back in Manchester, living in Cholton for a couple of years or so. So, tell us about where did all your creativity come from originally?
Yeah, so my family are quite creative. Both my parents um, are into music. My mum did theatre growing up, but it mainly came from with my eldest brother. Growing up, he was nonverbal autistic, and so we struggled to communicate with each other. But the way that we discovered we could was through play and through making theatre. So we'd make pantomimes together because we'd go see the pantos. So we both the panto in Blackpool every year. So we'd be in the living room. I'd be dressed as Tinkerbell. My other brother would be Peter Pan, and Joseph, my autistic brother, would be Captain Hook. And yeah, and that was how we would communicate and how we spent any time together, was through play. Many years sat in a cardboard box pretending to be in a train. And I think play is the starting blocks of creativity, isn't it? That's where it all comes from.
Yeah, I can relate to that well because, like, when I was growing up, 'cause I've got a younger sister that's only a little bit younger than me, and we used to play all the time with kids we did, and my sister's well, my sister's very the way she is now. My sister, I love her to bits, but my sister's very organised in the way she thinks. She's regimented, which is probably why she's a police inspector, and I'm just a creative nutcase. But you do is that I think you do it. It all leads to that same direction, doesn't it? Really, so.
Mm.
Did you find then when you were at school, were you very creative in a different way then?
Yeah, I was so in year six. No, was it year six, year four? I remember I got my first ever role as an actor. The choir would do little shows every year, and that year it was Jack and the Beanstalk, and year fours weren't allowed to be in it normally. It was only fives and sixes. But they said, year fours, we're gonna audition you to be the bean seller. We need a bean seller. So they went along the line of year fours, and we all had to say, "Come and buy my magic beans." And whoever did it the best got the role. And I just went for it. Everyone was like, "Come and buy my magic beans." And I went full blown, like, "Come and buy my magic beans." And like,
Oh,
really, really went into it.
fantastic.
And I got the part.
All I'm going to say there, Rachel, is obvious what was coming with you even back at that young age, and wasn't it? So,
Yeah.
did your parents have any inkling that you're going to become an actress at that age or anything?
Um, yeah, they must have because my mum's friend's mother was a drama teacher, and so my parents were like, would you mind giving Rachel some drama lessons?" Um, so I think they must have had an inkling that it was something that I enjoyed and might want to do one day. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they put me into classes, which I'm very grateful for.
yeah, I think it's definitely a big help for you that. Now, obviously, like you've told me already before, this is the bit I'm looking forward to now because particularly with this is like obviously you went obviously after you left school and obviously you went to do all your other qualifications. You went professional as an actress 7 years ago, didn't you? So
Yes.
when did you decide you were going to become professional then?
Um, so I think I had a brilliant GCSE drama teacher, and she one day she came over to me and she gave me I think it was like a RADA pamphlet and was like, I think you could go here. And I'd never really heard of drama school. I was in Blackpool. London was like this magical world that I'd never
Yeah.
never really been to. And that made me realise, so people do this. And then someone came to see the school show who um had graduated from a drama school recently and was like, yeah, I'm doing it. And so that really started getting my brain going of, oh gosh, people do this for a living. I could actually do what I love as my job. Okay, I think I'm going to do it. And after A levels, I had the choice. I was like, okay, I had the grades to go to somewhere like Cambridge or Oxford because I was quite like big on revising and learning stuff. So I'd got really good grades. And when I was looking around Cambridge, I was like asking, oh, how often do you get to actually perform then when you, and they were like, no, it's mainly reading. I think if you want to do it, go do it. And so I like that was the moment I was like, great, I want to be a creative. I'm gonna go and do it and be practical with it.
Brilliant stuff. I've not told you this before, if you don't know this, but I did my degree in creative writing and theatre studies, would you believe, over
Oh,
at
great.
Bolton University some years ago. Yeah, but I'll tell you about a speakeasy at some point. Why I don't act anymore. I write and perform. But I said ball game, but no, but brilliant. So, what was in? So where did you actually end up moving to originally after that stage then?
After that stage, I moved to London and
Right.
studied at Mount View, which is a drama school in London. Um, and I stayed there for maybe like 5 years and then moved back to Manchester a
Ah,
couple of years
brilliant.
ago.
Brilliant. Now, your CV you've sent over to me here lists quite a few of the major plays you've done over the past 7 years or so. I can't even begin to ask to pick one or two out here, to be honest. So, can you tell me about one or two of your favourites then?
Yeah, I think my favourites tend to be ones that are I really love work that is trying to make a difference and trying to do something in the world. I love doing work that is just for entertaining, and I think that's really important too. But I think the two would be one of them was working with a company called Bamboozle Theatre Company, who make work for young people who are described as having profound and multiple learning difficulties. And we'd go to their schools and their environments and do these shows that were tailor made for that audience. And they were really powerful performances. You'd have connections with the audience members that, they might have picked up a cornflake prop and the teachers would be like, whoa, we've never seen them do that before. And it was just a real magical moment of seeing the power of theatre, which again connected with me because I saw that with my brother growing up. Um, so I think that would be one of them. And then another one was doing a show in Greater Manchester about eating disorders. And we that worked alongside people with experiences of that and we were telling their stories.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic.
and again, the interactions with the audiences after and the conversations you'd have from that were brilliant.
Oh, yeah, I can believe that. Obviously, like what we talked about your brother before as well, that would obviously play into what you were doing there then straight away. Now, understandable completely. The most fascinating one that you've
Mm.
told me, this is the one I knew about when we talked about the speakeasy, was when he went over to Texas and he played 31 states in Texas. Now, people will look, if you see in the video today, you'll see a keyboard at the back there. And that's a clue. I know you can do music as well, so with that one. But I want to learn about that next then. What
Yeah.
was this story?
Yeah, so this was with a theatre company called Tutti Frutti, and it was a tour of, yeah, the United States. And we took a show called Underneath the Magical Moon, which was a adaptation of Peter Pan told from the point of view of Wendy, and I was playing Wendy. But a lot of the work I do, because I'm an actor musician, it'll be you're doing a show, but you're also playing the music, and you are also the band for the show. Um, so yeah, so in that one, that's exactly what we did. We were retelling the story of Peter Pan from the perspective of three children growing up in Leeds, um, who happened to be Wendy, John, and Michael. And it was like they were in their back garden and they were using all of the things you'd find in a garden to tell this story. And it was, yeah, we saw 31 states in 3.5 months. It was a lot of traveling, but it was an amazing to see how the arts is run over there. Played some massive venues,
Believe
which
you
we're
or
just
not.
not used to over. We don't have space for it in England, do we?
No, we're totally small and tiny. Anything over 50 people, you God, is gigantic. And I can well imagine what you played over there. Did you find then, obviously, we were playing in so many different states. Did you get, I'm not going to say, I would imagine it'd been a great play anyway. Did you get massively different reactions of people in different states?
Um, yeah, you know what? Every state feels like a different country in a way. They are so because they're so huge. I think Texas alone is like twice the size of the UK, and it's just a state. So, yeah, so each place you'd get maybe it might be like, oh, the kids are a bit quieter there, and then you'd go to some places and they really told you how they felt. Um, they were very vocal during the show, but the general feel across all of them were that they just loved hearing about England, and they loved when we would say things like crisps. All of the kids would be like, "Ha ha ha, crisps! What are crisps?" Because they call them
Oh,
chips, and
yeah.
they liked seeing that different culture, and that was
Brilliant.
kind of universal across.
I can believe you with that one straight away. Now, obviously, um, we've hinted at before. Obviously, I knew about this in advance. Was your love of music when you do it in your theatre projects and stuff? Did music come to you at an early age as well? Did it, or was that a bit later on?
Yeah, so yeah, both my parents played guitar and my mum played piano um growing up. And I was brought up in a local church where we had like a band that I'd be a part of from a very young age. They had me playing along. But again, my brother Joseph, one of his passions growing up was Thomas the Tank Engine. And one day he discovered that Ringo Starr, who narrates the first series of Thomas and Friends, is in the Beatles. And so suddenly his love of music began. And it was fascinating because he went from you couldn't play music at home because he just couldn't stand it to suddenly he loved it. And we would all sit around singing Beatles songs together. And again, that was just another way to connect. And it just became such a natural part. And both me and my other brother are both very musical now and do it as a career. So, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. No, brilliant indeed with that. So now, obviously, I always say we're a writing podcast. And when
Mhm.
I first met you, I think it was about 6 months ago, wasn't it? Some
Yeah.
sounds about right, doesn't it? I don't even know how you found out about Speakeasy, but that's a story for another day, that one, because sometimes it's great when people wondering, obviously, when I book Speakeasy, I do bookings and Speakeasy, people contact me and I don't know who they are sometimes. It's great when you find out how they find out about you, but that's a story for another day. But obviously, I know you as through your writing itself. So, did your writing come to you at a very early age as well, and did it?
No, writing has been
Oh,
a later
oh,
thing. Yeah, so writing came when I was in drama school. I was getting really frustrated at not finding there just wasn't I was reading lots of plays and you were encouraged to find things that you connected with. And there weren't very many plays about neurodiversity or disabilities, and so I was finding it very frustrating. I was like, well, there isn't a play about caring for your sibling growing up. So I knew that I wanted to fix that by writing one. And then actually, it was lockdown. I actually finally had time, which, because the industry's shut, the acting industry. So I was at home and I was like, right, I'm going to put pen to paper and start writing. And during lockdown as well, I started therapy. And from that is when I started writing poetry, and I
oh,
found my voice in that, in journaling. And as I journaled, it turned into poems. It was like I
Ah,
journaled in rhyme.
yeah. I think you do. In my case, would have been like my last burst of poetry came through during lockdown 'cause I've been writing since I was 10, and
Mm.
I'm going to horrify you now. I'm 53, right? So it's like, but you do, but it's. I think it's over lockdown. It impacted us all in different ways. I think
Yeah.
really, it certainly got me to being creative at different angles I wasn't expecting. So, did it
Yeah.
surprise you that really when your journaling led to your poetry?
Yeah, it did. But you know what? I say that I didn't do it from a young age, but I got married last year and my parents found loads of old things. And I'd written a book.
Oh
I
yeah.
wrote a I wrote a book when I was about 10, and I think I'd used the computer in my dad's office and word art and stuff to make this book called The Magic Maker. And yeah, it's got a good 5 chapters to it. So clearly I was into it from a young age. Um, so it did surprise me initially that I had that in me, but then yeah, in looking into my childhood, actually, I did write a diary growing up, and I did do writing. So,
You know, you just don't you can really surprise yourself sometimes with it. It's and I don't want to give too much away here in the podcast, but Amanda's got, would you believe, an old first novel, which was a lot younger, on a 3.5 inch hard little hard disk she has. So we're gonna have to try and get that transcribed some point. So you do like it.
yeah.
And I've got poetry, all my poetry's in the Clay 5 hardback books. So I've got nearly
Mm.
all of them since I was about 10. And
Wow.
the handwriting's appalling
Yeah.
back in those ones. I'm spelling is, but yeah, you do. It's great
Oh,
fun. You look back at those early works and you can really, really surprise
yeah.
yourself, I think, sometimes. But
And I
that's
think it's interesting to view them as early works because actually I think I just don't because I think, well, they're just the ramblings of a 10-year-old, but actually, it's a 10-year-old expressing themselves through words. That is writing, that is poetry, that is art.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's everything it is. It reflects who you are, even as a
Mm.
child who's 10 years rambling, what you grow up to be eventually, even if it's indirectly. And I found it interesting before when we were talking last week. Obviously, people wonder we had a pre-chat on this podcast when you mentioned about neurodiversity. Now, I know obviously this means a lot to you, and it's not just because of your brother either, is it?
Mm. No, so I've recently discovered I am also neurodiverse. So that's been a very interesting journey because obviously I'm neurodiverse in a very different way to my brother. So I think it's taken quite a while. It's probably been about a 5-year journey, to be honest, to finally accept, okay, no, that label does also apply to me. And it can apply to me and my brother, and it's just as valid that it applies to me. That has been a really, yeah, a really difficult journey, to be honest. But now that I'm learning more about myself in that regard, it's so helpful to be able to put words to things that I've found difficult over the years and things that I might find difficult now still. Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can understand that myself because I was, probably about my age when I was told I was dyspraxic when I was
Mm.
28. And I'd had a lot of trouble growing up with it, a lot of trouble growing up and stuff with writing and everything. I couldn't, at some points I couldn't string words together properly, and that made a big difference to me to help me move in the direction I needed to go next then. So
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
why. So no, good luck to you straight away with
Yeah.
that. So do you have any plans? And because I know that you've got various projects on the go at the moment, and I always ask people, and I was starting to wind down this part of the podcast, and this is the hard bit now with you, Rachel, asking you what you got coming up next. I know
Yeah.
you're in a play coming up in Norwich in December, so we'll talk about that first.
Yeah. So I'm doing a pantomime in Norwich. I'm playing Rapunzel in Rapunzel. Um, yeah, and it'll actually be my first pantomime, so I'm very excited um to be doing that.
Oh, brilliant. What part are you
Yeah,
playing then? Can you reveal?
playing Rapunzel.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
so you can have like a massive long wig on, are you then? So,
I hope so.
oh,
We'll find
brilliant.
out.
Yeah, even that, or they're going to start putting extensions in your hair, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and you'll be walking, and when you're obviously in Norwich over that month, then you'll be walking on the streets, and people looking, oh, that's Rapunzel, tripping up all the time. Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, great stuff. Now, obviously, I know you've got some writing projects on the go at the moment, which we'll touch on next. But do you have any plans for the new year in mind at the moment, 2026?
Yeah, so I've got quite a few writing projects, which is quite funny because the diagnosis I've received so far is ADHD, and it is very like I've got about five things that I just keep dipping into, and event one day I'll find the one that I'm like boom, and I'll hyper focus into it and get it done. So yeah, so I've got a few scratch performances of a new show that I'm writing with a friend about women in folklore. That's one
Ooh.
that I'm working on at the moment. I also am looking to, I'd love to tour my one woman show that I made a few years back called Joshua and Me about growing up with my brother. Um, so I'm going to be writing a lot of Arts Council applications and various grant applications to try and get the money to be able to put that on again. So
I
they're
can
the
see what
two
your
main
Christmas days will be like this year, definitely, right?
Yeah.
It'd be your poor husband Jared's going to end up basically on the oven all day, and you'll be sat there still scribbling away, won't you?
Yeah. I've got a deadline.
Poor Jared, right?
I know. Think of him this Christmas.
Oh, well, I will. I know what you mean with that, but Amanda's going to be exactly the same there. She's going to be running around with all kinds of bits and pieces, and I've got to go and cut the turkey, and she
Yeah.
don't trust me with the ovens. So no, good luck with it. So, is there anything you want to reveal about any of these six projects you've got on the go at the moment in your head?
Well, one of them, as I say, is exploring folklore and women. Um, and another one, to be honest, which might end up, they might end up merging into one, is looking into like women's healthcare and how little we know about it. Um, and yeah, and then another one about probably about the journey of, going from caring for someone who is autistic and that being your world for so long, and then someone turning around and going, "We think you might be too." And how do you deal with that and neurodiversity and um, all of that fun?
Oh, God, yeah. You've
Yeah,
got a lot of work coming there straight away in the new year with that.
yeah.
I think you're probably going to find if like it's similar to what happened to me originally, because I knew I wanted to do a book in my life about your age. And it took me to 40 to get that right book.
Wow.
I just trying to sometimes try to find the right angle for yourself. And after that, it then took me 5 years to do the book after that. And then it's been bang, bang, bang after that. So
Mm,
partly because I met Amanda, and Amanda's wrote so many novels you wouldn't believe it, right? All brilliant. And then we've bounced off each other all the time. And it'd be the same for you and your husband, basically. That's why,
yeah,
because I know your husband's a very good writer in his own right, and you push each other all the time in the right direction, I
yeah.
think.
And we actually really want to write something together as well. And we did a piece of community theatre in Hume Park last year about
Oh
climate
wow.
change
Oh
as a
wow.
duo. We loved working with the community and doing all the research in the community for it. So we'd love to do something like that again. I think it is I'm still quite young in the writer world really when you think I've only really been actively being like yes, I'm a writer for about 5 years. So I'm still finding my voice and what I like to write about, and it's quite fun.
I think sometimes it's good when you're at that stage because, like, you're just trying to find the direction that suits you, and that's when
Mm.
you can end up going all kinds of directions, and before you know it, you found it.
Yeah.
So now we're going to wrap up part one here, folks. But obviously, Rachel, if people want to get in touch with you or find you and these sort of mediums, how do you recommend do they do it?
Yes, so you can find me on um, Instagram. I am Rachel underscore ham6. That's how you can find me on Instagram. Um, and yeah, and then there's also a website for Joshua and Me. So if you type in joshuaandme.co.uk, you should be able to find me there. You might not be able to find me there right this second. I think I need to renew my what do you call it? The Earl.
Yeah, I
But
know what you mean.
yeah, but they're the two places you'd be able to find me.
Brilliant. Good luck with future work, Rachel. And you're always welcome wherever you're in the air, speakeasy. You know, you and your husband, dog, we both love you, right? So that's why.
Really
So,
lovely.
okay, folks. Well, that's it. Part one. We're going to let Rachel take a quick break, and when we come back to two shakes of the dice, Rachel's going to read out a few pieces, or at least one of them, somewhat from Speakeasy. So we'll see you all soon. Thanks again, Rachel.
Thank you.